Hi everybody, it's Ann Patchett at Parnassus Books, and it's Friday, and if you haven't read this book, it's a new book for you. This is really turning into a very rewarding little project because, for example, I keep hearing from people who've read Unless by Carol Shields because of these videos. I'm so grateful and they loved it. Meg Mason, who wrote My Favorite Sorrow and Bliss, emails me a line from this book every day because she's so in love with Unless. So this is what we're going to talk about today. There are so many authors who have big bodies of work and you haven't read any of it. I was talking the other day with somebody who works in the store about an author that I love, and she said, yeah, I haven't read one word of her. I always mean to. And then it becomes overwhelming and you don't know where to jump in. And that's what we're going to talk about today. There are some authors, Jane Austen, I've read them all. Dickens, I've read an awful lot. Trollope, nothing. Okay? I stopped at page 106. Not because it wasn't great. It was great. But for some reason, I feel so overwhelmed when I think about Trollope. There's so many books and the smartest people, that's all they read. Trollope. Someday, I'm going to read all of Trollope. But instead, I have read all of Richard Ford. I don't know why. But I have not read any of Hilary Mantel. I'm deeply ashamed of this. And there are people that I read all of because it's when I grew up. I mean, I didn't read all of John Updike. This is my favorite, but I've read a ridiculous amount of John Updike. I have read a ridiculous amount of Philip Roth. This is my favorite, Philip Roth, The Human Stain. How is it that I haven't read Hilary Mantel? I mean, this is just the way the world works. So I thought I would bring you a book by someone who is one of my all-time favorite authors. I have read all of her books because maybe you don't know where to jump in with Toni Morrison, right? I adore Toni Morrison. I probably started in the early 80s. I didn't have to read back too far, and then I could read each one as it came out. And the place that I would recommend starting is Song of Solomon. You wouldn't really miss anywhere you started, but this book has a great propulsive forward narrative structure. And I read it again after she died. I had this moment where I thought, was she really as brilliant as I remember her? And the answer, oh my God, the answer is yes. It's a book for the ages. And if you haven't read any Toni Morrison, start with Song of Solomon. Okay, that's my advice. I'll talk to you next Friday.